Shalom, my name is Yehoshua ANSWERS. I'm a didactic scientist. I'm making this from Jerusalem, and I want to comment further. This is part 2 of the comment on the Bill O'Reilly, Richard Dawkins interview. Again, congratulations, Bill. You did a good job. First, about the leap of faith comment in this video. The onus is on you, he said to Mr. O'Reilly. The fact is, you disclaim God, and you say to believe in God is a delusion. The onus is upon you, Mr. Dawkins, to prove that. And so let us begin with that. And then you came with the specious argument about the many gods. Which God do you believe in, and so forth. Well, let me point out something that Richard Dawkins is unaware of. In the Jewish religion, by the way, Mr. O'Reilly, is an aside and a commentary because it has really to do with what I'm about next to say. Before I was Yehoshua Yaakov, the didactic scientist in Jerusalem, the author of Humanomics and its two paradigms, the central organizing, but to receive, to give, and the integration of labor, the economic paradigm, I was Michael F. O'Donnell. And that said, this is what Dawkins kind of omits, and I think it's with his specious argument, and it's this. In our tradition, in Judaism, we have a very great concern about idolatry, and that is belief in false gods, idols, etc. And we are now in the era in history where I've observed as a scientist 18 years ago the collapse of the local reality globally, and it's been confirmed since. It's very significant because it brings the end of man and mankind's exile and confirmation of the God of the cosmos, which we all believe in, even Richard Dawkins, despite his denial. But now let's get back to this issue of idolatry. Most particularly, this idolatry in Judaism is one of the great sins. Our teachers and rabbis, they are very strong on this, of the enormity of the damage that can be done to the human spirit through idolatry. Well, in the redemption, which we're now in, and that will take the specious arguments of Dawkins and Hitchens and all of them, and put them in the trash where they belong, because they're naive interpretations of nihilism and philosophical materialism, atheism, not naive. Okay. An undergraduate college student in Philosophy 101 can do better. Good science, bad philosophy. That's Dawkins and Hitchens and the rest of them. But now to come to this matter of idolatry, it is this, belief in false gods, belief in idols, etc. The biggest, most pernicious form of idolatry, and the God that Mr. Dawkins and Mr. Hitchens believes in, that Pol Pot believed in, that Lenin and Stalin believed in, and Adolf Hitler believed in, was the angry little boy within, who's in denial right now globally. I'm talking about the Cartesian duality, the local reality, the only you, and this goes for you, Bill, but you're not by any stretch of the imagination an atheist, etc., 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 agnostic, anti-theist, anti-deist, etc., anti-foundationalist, atheist, you name it. And it is this. The idolatry of the modern era that I observe is the specious belief in the only you know. And Dawkins, that's his God. That's his little demigod that he has standing up and waving his diaper and saying, you have to prove to me that the God of the cosmos exists. The onus is on you. Okay, well, that's my reaction, okay? And I want to say a couple of things. The onus first is on him to prove that God doesn't exist, because he's the one who's claiming that God is a delusion. Well, the truth of the matter be known, Dawkie, Mr. Dawkins, Professor Dawkins, Richard, Tricky Dick, whatever your name is, you don't exist. And the proof is upon you to prove you do exist. And really the demigod that you believe in is what we call in the Jewish religious tradition the klippah, which means a veil, a cover. The Cartesian duality, the philosophical materialism, the rationalism has excluded from your logic the existence of the non-local reality, or in the traditional terms, the God of the cosmos. You deny it. And why? The question is a reasonable one. If the God of the cosmos exists, and there is overwhelming empirical and logical evidence for it, and in particular Bell's theorem in the 1990s, which showed the inequality and incompleteness of the quantum reality and its theories, confirmed the non-local reality, which is probably the most stunning confirmation of God's existence, second only to the discovery of the collapse of the local reality globally, which has now occurred. Where are you, Mr. Dawkins? Where are you? Have you ever heard of these things? What do you know about them? What do they mean? What do they mean to you? Look, the truth of the matter be known, Mr. Dawkins, and you're not a scientist, Mr. O'Reilly, but I think you did a great job. And I congratulate you, because you just simply you dismissed him. You didn't have the arguments, but you did have the higher ground nonetheless. So the God of the cosmos helped you in your debate. But that said, Dawkins, doesn't understand the relation. Closeness to God is essential to identity resolution. To actually know his authentic self. He doesn't know his authentic self. He doesn't exist. His existence, he sees himself and man as objects of a rational framework of manipulation of science, and this is specious, and it's poor science like it's poor philosophy. But I repeat, and I want to be absolutely emphatic on this particular point. As a biologist, he is world class. He's an excellent he does excellent science in biology, with a few exceptions. His claims that Lorenz was wrong is specious, and that he's right, because the fact of the matter is Lorenz and Dawkins are both correct, and in the future the particular argument for the selfish gene and the group gene, and its mechanism of corporation, natural selection, etc., 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 will be proven to not only exist on the two levels, but on two additional levels, just a total of four. And I won't go into the empirical and logical evidence of support of that. So I would say even his science, I repeat again, and this is a very technical point, that really only scientists can appreciate. His science is excellent, but it's also exclusionary and therefore limited, because he's carrying baggage which bifurcates his science, and therefore it gets to his interpretations of his observations and his application of logic. So it dilutes the good science, and on occasions, and I've cited the one with respect to Dawkins, you actually get bad science, but consistently his philosophy stinks. So I thank you for having listened. I'm Yehoshua Yaakov, and be not enamored of his challenges, because they're specious, and they're in the context of history and events, particularly the collapse of the local reality globally, are relevant. I'm the author of Humanomics, the post-collapse of the local East-West convergence model. Its central organizing principle is receive and to give. It also is a blessing. In Hebrew, kabel v'shlotet. So, Bill O'Reilly, I bless you in receiving to give, and I congratulate you. Well done. Thank you for listening. Shalom from Jerusalem.